Hey, this is 5 of Clubs, and welcome back to our playthrough of 4 Against Darkness. Last time around, our hero party of Judas, Berhyl, Diz, and Shade descended into the Silvain Mines to investigate an irregular influx of monsters. Strangely, the monsters we encountered in the blacklit cavern corridors came from regions spanning the continent. Trolls from the south, goblins from the north, and even a rare Catoblepas from the Summerland Shores. As though encountering this motley mix of foes wasn't strange enough, the meddlesome minions seemed similarly confused themselves, as though they were just as surprised as we were to find them so far from their native realms. Perhaps the cave's resident chaos lord of the Chasm could be the source of the eclectic occupants of the cave. Surely things seemed chaotic in here. Then again, the lady in white who tasked us with slaying all these beasties seemed similarly suspect. Perhaps the quest she gave us to clean the caves of these creatures is somehow tied to her presence here? Speaking of white, we left off on a cliffhanger ending wherein our party encountered a foul, unrecognized monster. A hulking, human-handed albino lion, whose shimmering mane and feral eyes radiate from the Shadowstone's spectral haze. Behind the creature, a dark void curtain ripples with black light flickers. It looks almost like a portal, maybe? And from it, an eminent, cacophonous chorus of screams echo through the cavern, complemented by the rumbling bass of the lion's growl. The soul song carried in the chords of that terrifying tune must be harrowing if Beryl's pale, pained face is any indication. Before the heroes could find their bearings in this bizarre scenario, the lion leaps at them with blurring speed. Brace yourselves, heroes. Before we dive into the action, I'll say a few words regarding what exactly you'll be watching play out here. As I mentioned in the previous video, this battle deviates from the traditional final boss structure portrayed in the core rules. In the standard game setting, the final boss encounter is simply a standard boss with a few increased stats. It works just fine, but given that there are only 6 bosses on the standard boss chart, you'll see repeats more frequently than I'd like. Additionally, sometimes you can tear through a final boss before it can even really lay a hit on you. As such, I thought the final boss portion of the game could use a little bit of a revamp. As a result, I ended up creating a condensed hybrid combination of 4 Against Darkness and Kingdom Death monster combat systems as a proof of concept here. As you can see, the battle takes place on a miniature board with the monster in the middle and the heroes on the outer edges. The battle mechanics themselves largely remain the same, with play alternating between the hero turns and the monster turn, wherein dice are rolled for attack and defense. There are a few crucial differences to note before we begin, though. For those of you unfamiliar with Kingdom Death, do not fret. I'll be producing a full-on, nuanced KDM primer video over the next few weeks to explain the game to interested players. But since that's useless to you at this time of the video's release, all you need to know about Kingdom Death Monster is that it's a 4 versus 1 combat game where 4 players take on horrific monsters in mortal combat. The White Lion is one such monster, about whom what little is known is summarized in the Kingdom Death Monster rulebook through a small story segment. There once was a beast that wanted to feel how soft its fur was. Since it could not reach its own back, it killed many other creatures and spent time rubbing its paws over them. They say that when the monster finally killed a human, it fell in love with their soft hair and its paws grew into a pair of fine human hands. As you can see, this beastie wants to grope us, and the wild talons extending from its fingertips generally make that an unpleasantly visceral process. In our battle here, the enemy's attacks and abilities will be tracked and conveyed through the use of 2 small decks of cards. One deck, known as the AI deck, comprises the possible attacks that the monster will perform when it activates. The other deck, known as the Hit Locations deck, specifies which body parts the heroes have struck when they resolve successful attacks and what the consequences of those hits might be. When playing outside of a digital capacity here, I actually only use one deck of playing cards, split into 2 shuffled piles of Ace through King in the black spade suit for the AI cards, and another pile with Ace through King in the red heart suit for the hit location cards, placing the 2 piles to the left and right sides of the battle board respectively. Here in this digital version, I use 2 card decks with differing colors to more easily tell which deck is which, black being AI cards and red being hit location cards. I used playing cards for these because I wanted to keep this design replicable by any casual player of the game, without adding too many other proprietary components or requirements, meaning that anyone with the base 4 AD gamebook and a set of playing cards can play this using the White Lion reference sheet that explains what each card does. As a side note, I found that this playing card plus reference sheet system is a great homebrew means of playtesting card-based AI for the crafting inept like myself. Whenever the monster takes its turn, simply draw an AI card from its AI deck and resolve the listed effect accordingly, which will often target one or two heroes on the board and resolve an attack attempt against them. This White Lion will play 2 AI cards per turn, similar to how some bosses, like the Chaos Lord, resolve multiple attacks per turn. After its 2 AI cards are played, play proceeds to the hero turns, wherein each hero activates in a turn order of their choice. Hero turns work a bit differently here than in the standard abstract battle structure, which makes sense due to the inclusion of the boss board here. I'll note that the board itself is not really necessary either, as it really just boils down to demonstrating 2 slots in each of the cardinal directions from the boss: north, east, south, and west. In this final boss battle, heroes are afforded 1 movement action and 1 combat action. Movement actions allow heroes to move into an open space in an adjacent sector. For example, if the wizard here wanted to move to an adjacent sector right now, he would only be able to move to the west sector, since both spaces in the east sector are occupied by other heroes. Movement is entirely optional, but there are some advantages to keep in mind when considering where to move a hero figure. Movement can allow heroes to enter the spaces behind the White Lion, which is indicated as the White Lion's blind spot. Heroes in the White Lion's blind spot gain 2 notable advantages. For one thing, heroes in the blind spot do not count as threats when the White Lion resolves AI card effects, meaning that you can help keep certain heroes safer by tucking them behind the lion. For another thing, the heroes in the White Lion's blind spot gain a +1 bonus to their attack rolls when they attack the boss. Attack rolls and defense rolls still work the same way they do in the core game, wherein the attacker or the attackee rolls a d6 and compares the roll value plus modifiers to the level of the monster to determine successes. And, just like in the core game, if a hero is able to surpass the monster's level multiple times with their attack result, often with the help of an exploding 6, the hero can potentially deal multiple wounds to the monster with 1 attack. However, things get a bit different in regards to what happens when successful hits result from your attack roll. Every time successful hits occur, the attacker draws an equal number of cards from the hit location deck and reveals them simultaneously. These hit location cards determine any reactions or consequences caused by the hits dealt to the monster. Some of these can be good, like knocking the White Lion over or making it easier to hit, while others can be bad, like causing the White Lion to counterattack. When resolving attacks with multiple successes, you may choose to resolve these hit location cards in the order of your choosing, which can be important. After resolving a hit location effect, the monster is dealt its wound from your successful attack as normal. So, to bring this back down to a basic level, the boss will resolve cards to the black deck on the left whenever it takes a turn, and the heroes will resolve cards from the red deck on the right whenever they hit the monster. Oh, and there's one more thing. You may have noticed in the previous video that there were little brown counters in each hero's play area, each set to the number 1. No, these are not trackers for each hero's current level, though that is a good idea. These instead track the hero's number of survival points. Survival points are special points that can be spent to perform special survival actions that will be available to the heroes. In this battle here, the heroes only have access to the dodge survival action, which allows the target to negate the damage of 1 enemy attack. To use a survival action, the hero simply spends 1 survival point and resolves its effect accordingly. As the players improve their skills and the challenges set against them increase in kind, the heroes will gain more survival points and more survival actions to spend them on. Additionally, survival actions may be used in battles outside of the final boss fight, meaning that you could use dodge to duck your way out of a nasty blow in another encounter. This likely sounds complicated to those who are unfamiliar with Kingdom Death, but trust me, you'll see it's actually pretty simple in practice here. So let's grapple with this grabby kitty and find out what the heck is going on around here. Excellent, the board is ready, the stage is set for our battle here. Let's lock that down so I don't accidentally uproot it. Here we are with our friends. We've got our good friend Judas here, Berhyl here, then Shade and the wizard Diz in the back. I almost called him Dizzard there. Yes, and we have our decks here. The deck on the left, as indicated in the intro, will be the AI deck, and the hit locations here. We are looking at 9 health on this hulking white monster, and he's a level 5 as well, so that will dictate the difficulty of battle. Admittedly, 9 health and level 5 is double and sometimes even triple the normal rates for the bosses in the game. But actually, I think in this particular format, it works out okay because the players are also afforded a few more choices that are not necessarily afforded to them in the standard Rollapalooza that is boss battles. So, all right, let's go ahead and begin. In this battle scenario, monsters, like in the original game of Kingdom Death, do get the first turn. So as you may recall, what will happen is he will play 2 AI cards to simulate the 2 attacks that the white lion is afforded, and then they'll be able to be our turns. We can attack and try to tear through some of those hit locations. Very good. We have the queen here, which is a... Oh, sorry about that. Had to pull up my white lion reference sheets to actually tell us what these cards do. But I do recall that the queen is a mood card. Yes, indeed. The queen's mood card, a mood in Kingdom Death terminology, and here likewise, is a card that will do something and actually remain in play. So what that will do in this case, it says this card remains in play when the next hero attacks the white lion. After resolving that attack, the white lion attacks the attacker. Then discard this card and draw an AI. So normally mood cards in Kingdom Death, so that it's not like a dead card during the monster's turn, will trigger an additional card play. So even though he's played this one card, he's actually going to get 2 more. But this essentially is like a counter attack. So whoever attacks the monster and wounds it first is going to take a bit of a counter attack from the lion. So that's one thing to keep in mind going forward. Let's see what the next card is. That is number 9. Naughty number 9. Turn to face the nearest threat and attack. That if that figure takes damage, inflict bleed 2. So threats are considered anyone in these spaces of basically spaces of sight by the white lion. Behind him in the blind spot, the lion doesn't see them, so it does not consider them threats. We have Judas or Berhyl, and I suppose what we'll do is in Kingdom Death, you're able to actually pick which character it targets, but we'll just go ahead and roll off here. On 1, 2, 3, we have Judas. 4, 5, 6, we have Berhyl. It looks like it was a 6. So our dear friend Berhyl is going to be taking the first attack from the lion. Let's roll to see if the lion hits. That's a 1 for defense, so it does appear that the white lion hits, and if we do get hit, like the text says, we're going to get bleed 2. Now, bleed in Kingdom Death is sort of an accumulative token that you can get. If you get 5 of them, then your character just dies, even if that's the only thing they have to their name, and they don't actually have any damage. I guess it sort of represents they've lost too much blood. In this game, since this is a compressed version of Kingdom Death, they actually bleed out at 3. So you can see here, if he takes bleed 2, he's 2/3 of the way dead. So I think what we will do is use our survival action here to dodge. And we will go ahead and dodge that hit because we don't want to be at bleed 2 out of 3 since we don't have a way to actually fix our bleeding just yet. Alright, and because this played a free AI card, we still have one more AI card to go through this round. That is a 4. The 4 says, turn to face the threat with the most health and attack, -1 to defense roll. If this attack dealt damage, that target is knocked down. Okay, who has the most health? Looks like it's actually a tie between Judas, Diz, and Shade. So I'm going to roll a d6. 1, 2, it's Judas. 3, 4, it's Diz. 5, 6, it is Shade. Who is getting attacked? That is a 4, so poor Diz is getting attacked. Good thing he's hiding in that bush here.
Have you ever had a dream that you
I suppose it's not the best art that I could have put on the tile, but it's functional nonetheless. Right, so he is going to be attacking our dear friend in what... That is a 4 defense, but in the bush is +1, bringing it to 5, but given that the lion is a level 5, and to actually succeed in a defense check, you have to roll above the monster level. That means that this lion is going to be hitting us, and if he hits us, he's going to knock us down. I have some health to spare. I guess I'll just go ahead and take it. Okay, yeah. I found out a little bit ago that when you flip these, unlike other figures like this, which don't look as though they would sit flat on their head like that, these figures actually follow their physics properly. So I guess that's about the best I can do, since I don't know a tip button to tip him in a certain way. But anyway, he is knocked down because that lion thrashed at his ankles, and well, and he's frankly, he's an older man anyway, so I don't imagine he is the most sturdy or stable. Right, so we have enjoyed our 3 AI cards this turn, and it is now finally our turn to begin. So I suppose, first order of business, we're going to let our knocked down friend go. As far as knockdowns are concerned in this game, all that really means is that they just have to spend their turn standing up, and that's all they can do. So you can just imagine that he's just kind of lost in action. So anyway, he has concluded his turn. He is back up, standing in the shrubs, ready for attacking on a future turn. And I suppose the next order of business, let's have Berhyl get into the blind spot of the white lion. And I suppose dear Berhyl will try to enact some vengeance. That's a 1! So that's not going to work at all. So despite the fact he was in the blind spot, he was not able to capitalize on the stealth bonus there. However, Judas, feeling ever the emboldened one, is going to roll a 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then plus 1 from attacking in the blind spot makes it 6, which does actually surpass the value of 5. So let's get a hit location card. That is the Jack of Diamond, which is the Beast's Knee. Roll 2d6. On a roll result of 11 plus, the attacker may move 1 position. So essentially it lets him get like a free movement out of that, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and roll. 4 and 3 is 7, so that will not trigger that ability, unfortunately. So we've dealt 1 wound, but let's not forget, ground fighting is in play. So the lion's jujitsu will kick into effect here. It'll turn around and attack our dear friend. So let's roll for defense. Here we go. Very good, and that's a 6, which means that it is going to... Yep, perfect. So he actually was able to dodge the white lion's counterattack. So joke's on you, lion. We were ready for that. No worries there. Right, so now that the lion is actually turned this way, the lion has fallen into my clever trap. For I left our friend Shade up here, who may now attack with the benefit of the blind spot. So let's go ahead and roll the die for Shade. Shade got a 5. Minus 1 is 4, but with the blind spot, plus 1 is 5, so that would be a hit. Let's see. That is a 6 of hearts, and the 6, let's see. Oh, soft belly. Yes, roll 2d6. On a roll result of 11 plus, the white lion instantly dies. Yes, so his shadow shiv would be de-gutting the lion. Unfortunately, he will not be de-gutting him today. That was only a roll of 8, but a wound is a wound, so I will not complain too much. Right, so all 4 of our characters have gone, which means it's now time for the lion to go. Let's see what he's going to do. Number 3, turn to face the nearest threat and attack. If this attack dealt damage, attack the target again. So he doesn't have to turn to face the nearest threat. There are 2 threats right there equidistant to himself. So let's go ahead and roll again to determine who he's targeting, whether it's Judas or Berhyl. 1, 2, 3 for Judas, 4, 5, and 6 for Berhyl. That is a 6, so he is going after poor Berhyl again. He's really ganging up on him. All right, let's roll. Thankfully, our friend Berhyl rolled a 6 and a 4, so that's a 10. That's a definite dodge there. So excellent job, and that's really good because if he had not done so, if he had been hit, then I would have gotten attacked again, which is no good. Not to say that Beryl's out of the woods yet. We do have 1 more card to play, but I suppose it's better than nothing. Number 6, turn to face the threat with the lowest health and attack with minus 1 defense to the roll. If this attack dealt damage, that target suffers bleed 1. Okay, so the lowest health is currently a tie between Diz and Berhyl, although this says to face the threat with the lowest health. So currently right now Diz is in the blind spot, meaning he is ineligible of being a threat. So Berhyl is going to be the recipient of this attack also. That's a 1. Yep, that's not going to defend. So that means he's going to take 1 damage and a bleed. And I don't actually have a bleed counter ready, so let's go ahead and change this to something blood colored, shall we? Right, and we will get 1 bleed, so we are 1/3 of our way to bleeding out from this white lion's business. Right, so with those 2 cards out of the way, our turns begin anew, and I suppose we can start with our friends in the back. How about, let's let Shade go first, huh? Alright, Shade, here we go. That is 4. -1 is 3, +1's 4. Still one shy of the level 5 needed to hit. So unfortunately, Shade was not able to strike the monster. But I will actually end Shade's turn by moving a little bit. Let's move him right over here, and we will have our wizard attack likewise. Maybe the wizard will have a little more luck attacking from the blind spot. Or less luck, it turns out. It looks like that is a final result of 2. It would be 1, given that it's a light weapon, but blind spot bonus again. And I will keep our dear friend over there because he does not have any armor or shields or any other defensive implements to his name. Let's get Judas over there, and let's see if Judas may strike at the flanks of this kitty. That is 4, +1 is 5, +1 is 6, so that will result in 1 hit. What do we got? We have the King of Hearts, and that is going to be the Beast's Brow. Roll 2d6. On a result of 11+, the White Lion suffers a vision impairment. Add +1 to all defense rolls until the end of the battle. Oh, wow. Really good. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll these. That is 6 and 3 is 9. So close, but not quite there yet. So, gonna be a 1 bunk to the eyebrow of the White Lion, but not quite the gouging of the eye that we were hoping for. Okay. And a Berhyl, and Berhyl. Beryl's gonna go right over here, stand next to the shadow of Diz, and roll an attack with his bow staff. That is a 1. So that will not do it. Perhaps he's still reeling from the bleeding strike that he took from this lion. Alright, and speaking of this lion, it's the lion's turn to go. We have a Jack. Each threat rolls a d6. On a result of 2 or fewer, the threat loses that threat loses 1 HP and is knocked down. So, for those of you who are familiar with Kingdom Death, this is similar to when the lion lets out its ferocious roar and does potential sonic damage. Alright, so we have Judas had a 5, Berhyl had a 3, poor Diz had a 2, and then a 3 was rolled by Shade. So, Diz is going to take a damage and is going right back down. There you go, buddy. Go back to sleep in those shrubs there. Now, likewise, you are not able to dodge that attack in Kingdom Death Monster because it's a sonic attack in nature. So I'm going to play it here the same way that I cannot spend my survival to dodge a sound because that would be silly. Right, so poor Diz is flat on his rear again, but it's our turns to go. So I'll go ahead and throw that right there. No, actually it's not. He gets one more card play. I'm sorry. And that is the Ace. Turn to face a random threat and attack. -1 to the defense roll. Right. Okay, so we have random threats. We have our friend Judas, we have Shade, and we have Berhyl. So we're going to do just left to right. 1, 2 is Judas, 3, 4 is Berhyl, 5, 6 is Shade. And what is the number? That's a 5, so it's going to go for Shade, who happens to have the best defense of us all. So that's pretty good. All right, let's roll. That's a 1. That's not going to do it at all, is it, friends? No. Alright, he's going to take 1 point of damage. I could have spent my survival to dodge that hit, but I think I might want to save it for something a little scarier than just 1 damage when he already has 4 health. Now 3, of course. Alright, and now it's our turns to go. I believe we will start the turn order by standing up our wizard, who will regain the safety of the shrubs there. And from there, I believe Judas will strike from the blind spot. That is a 2. Then we have 3, 4, and 5 because he is in the blind spot. So very good. That would have been a miss except for that excellent blind spot. That is a 4 of hearts, which is the Beast's Ear. Any figures in front of White Lion are knocked down. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Our dear friends over here have been knocked down. Both of them. Wow, I had plans for them this turn. So that's not so fun. It's as though the White Lion reached out with its human hands and grabbed at the ankles of our friends. Oh, boy. Well, okay. So I guess I know what I'm going to do for their turns. I'm going to stand up Berhyl, and I'm going to stand up Shade. And that's going to be that. Wow, okay. That really hamstrung my turn there. But I guess it is what it is. We have a 7 from the lion, and the 7 is going to turn the White Lion 1 position clockwise, then attack all figures in front of White Lion. Oh, okay. So actually we got a bit of a reprieve here. So it's as though the white lion powered up a massive swing and was going to swing at everyone over here with a giant claw swipe, I guess. Which would be bad if we had two characters there, because he would hit both of them. But we actually lucked out in this regard, where he only hit nobody. He swung at air. Maybe that bonk to his eye did more damage than we thought it did. Whew. Okay, a rare reprieve. Very good. And then card number 8. Attack a figure in front of White Lion. If that figure takes any damage from this attack, they are knocked down. Wow. Man, how hard did we hit this guy in the head? Whew. Yikes. Okay, so he swung at a mirage, maybe, or a shadow of one of our friends. Maybe Shade was doing some shadow trickery there and tricked the White Lion this time around. Or maybe the game just knew we needed the help after it took away 2 of our whole turns there. Okay, righto. Or maybe, in fact, the lion was like, you know, I'm really kind of giving them the business, so I'll give them a slight reprieve. A bit like the Hand in Kingdom Death, who's so arrogant in his capacity to win that he openly mocks us. Right, but we're all standing. It's our turns again. I think we'll start with Wizard the Diz... Diz the Wizard, who did a 3, plus 1 is 4, minus 1 is 3. So, not going to cut it. Oh, but you know what? I forgot to apply the wound here. For that last hit location. Sorry about that. Right, so we are now 5. Once we do 1 more point of damage to the lion, it will do the nice bit where its level is now considered 1 fewer than it used to be, meaning that this will be a level 4 lion, which is a bit easier to manage. It will, however, never try to flee. This is a fight to the death always sort of situation, so it will not go tuck its tail and run, unfortunately for us. Right. Okay, so Diz, you swung and you missed, and that's okay. It's too bad we didn't save any combat spells for you to use here, but that is... It's okay. I think it's okay. That's no problem. Alright, Shade, moving into that blind spot, going for a backstab. We have 2 minus 1 is 1, plus 1 is 2. Definitely nowhere near close to that 5, so that's not going to cut it. Judas, you've been pretty consistent for us. Let's see what you got. That's a 2, which now that we're not in the blind spot, only adds up to 4, meaning that's a miss as well. Okay, so I guess this is just going to be a miss-a-palooza here. There's no point in really moving there, is there? Let us roll last but not least with our dear friend, Mr. Berhyl. That's a 1. Okay. Wow. All right. So basically, this entire round was just miss, 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 and miss. So from both the enemies and from the heroes as well. So, right. What do we have? We have 5. Turn to face the nearest threat and attack. So we have 2 friends right here that are technically equidistant as far as quadrants are concerned. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. 4. Naturally, it's going to try... It has been going after poor Berhyl. Poor dear. Right. Yes. So, number 5, there's minus 1 to the defense roll. So, this would have... Well, actually, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So, it turns out he is going to be taking 1 damage, reducing him to 1 health. No, Berhyl, no! No, dear. And he's primed and ready right in front of that white lion for whatever happens next. Turn to face the target who most recently wounded the white lion and attack that target, minus 1 to the defense roll. Wow, so who most recently wounded the target? I think that was not Berhyl, actually. I think that was our dear friend Judas. It was over a round ago, so it's hard to remember. But yes, I believe it was our dear friend Judas. Let's go ahead and roll. That is 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's not going to cut it. 1 damage there. Yep. Okay. White Lion's turn is over with. Man, we got to close this out or we're going to be in some serious trouble. Let's move Shade into the blind spot. Give him the best chance of hitting he can get. Ooh, a 6. Ooh, boy. Okay. We're about to unload on this lion, maybe. All right, 6 plus 7. Minus 1 is 6. Plus 1 in the blind spot, 7. It's going to be 1 hit. That is the Queen of Diamonds, which is the beast's femur, which has no positive or negative effects. So he's just going to try to strike out at that femur, and indeed he does, which reduces the lion to 4 health, bringing it to a level 4, making it easier to dodge and attack going forward. Excellent. I think, I'm tempted, of course, to have our dear friend here attack, but I don't think that's a great idea. I think what I'm going to do is have Berhyl move over here and lean on his bow staff and take it a little easy, because I don't want to trigger one of the White Lion responses that does damage, either the trap or one of the other counterattacks or something. So let's see if we can try to keep him safe over here. And we'll let the wizard go back here and swing with his lantern mace. And those of you who are Kingdom Death familiar may start to see why he might be holding a lantern mace. Indeed. Yes, 3 here, plus 1 in the blind spots, 4, minus 1 is 3. So not going to cut it. Even though he is level 4 now, it's almost going to cut it, but not quite. And since we don't want to be quite in front of the lion, let's go ahead and move Judas right up here. And roll, Judas. Let's not miss today, shall we? That's a 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. That is going to hit. Oh, and there it is, the ace. And the ace of hearts in this case is the trap card. So the trap card is a ploy. It is called, actually the card's called Clever Ploy. Essentially the White Lion tricked us into overextending ourselves in an attack, and then will punish us for doing so. So even in a multi-hit attack where you have multiple hits, you get to decide which order to resolve them in. If the trap card is any one of those hits, then it cancels the entire attack, unfortunately. Thankfully, this is only a one-hit attack, so we didn't lose that much. But it is something that you will notice perhaps in future battles. Turn to face the attacker and attack, minus 1 to defense roll. Shuffle the hit location discard pile back into the hit location deck. So these cards are all coming right here. Shuffle, shuffle. No damage is being dealt, even with the successful hit. And that trap is now somewhere back in this deck right here. It could be the top card, could be the bottom card. We have no idea yet. And he is going to attack our dear friend Judas. All right, Judas, come on. You can dodge this. I know you can. That's a 6. Yes, you could. You could dodge it. You excellent little warrior, you. Very good. Okay. And moving right along, that's everybody who wants to attack. So it's the White Lion's turn. Oh, boy. Here we go. We have 10. Turn to face the target with the most survival points. Attack target, minus 2 to defense roll. Okay, so the most survival points is currently a value that is shared by Judas, Diz, and Shade. So we'll roll 1, 2, Judas, 3, 4, Diz, 5, 6, Shade. 3, he's looking at Diz. And he is going to attack, and if Diz does not dodge this on his own merits, which he does not, he would take 1 damage and 2 bleed, bringing him 1 bleed away from dying. Let's just go ahead and dodge this one. That's a pretty nasty card. Alright, and then let's see what the next card is. It is a King, which is a mood card called Bloodthirsty. This card remains in play. White Lion will target the hero with the most bleed tokens for its next attack, then discard this card. So, essentially, it's going to be targeting the next hero, which I think the one who has the most hero token or bleed tokens is unfortunately poor Berhyl, who is at 1 health point. And as the other mood card did, this is going to play another AI card for free. So we are not out of the woods. Poor Berhyl. It's the Queen as well. So ground fighting comes into play. Oh my goodness, this lion is getting ready to really unload on us. And it is also likewise going to play another card. 4. Turn to face the threat with the most health, but it's actually going to face the threat with the most bleed tokens. So unfortunately, that is going to be Berhyl. An attack with minus 1 defense to the roll. Uh-oh.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Oh boy. Oh boy. A 5 plus 1 is a 6. Woo! Even with the minus 1 defense. Remember, this monster is now level 4. So, somehow or another, Berhyl scrapes his way by to live yet another day. Perhaps his moment of rest, where he leaned on his bowstaff, allowed him some nimble nature here. Wow. Okay, frankly, I thought he was dead for sure. If this attack dealt damage, the target is knocked down, but it did not deal damage. Okay, I think we need to get Berhyl out of the way ASAP. Let's move Berhyl here first and foremost to get him out in front of the lion so the lion doesn't do any nonsense. And I think likewise he's going to rest, and hopefully that will assist in his defensive energies. Right. Let's go ahead and move our friend the wizard down here and let the wizard strike out at the monster. 5 minus 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. That is a hit right here. And we have the Queen of Hearts, which is the beast's groin. Turn the white lion to face the attacker. The white lion's next attack will target the attacker. Uh-oh. So we have upset the lion by having targeted its nether regions with our strike. I'll admit, Diz, that was kind of a low blow there, a low tactic that you did. Maybe you should have been a little more tactful in this combat. But I guess it is what it is. And additionally, let us not forget, oh, this card is resolved. Let's not forget, ground fighting is in play. So it is actually going to attack right now, poor Diz. Oh, goodness. Okay. Diz rolled a 5 for defense, which is 1 above the level 4 that the monster is. So Diz somehow was able to dodge it. Maybe, perhaps, the lion was just in so much excruciating pain. Its half-hearted counter-strike at Diz was easy enough for even an old man to evade, perhaps. Yes. Okay. And moving right along to someone else, let's go ahead and have Shade attack from the blind spot here. Come on, Shade. That is 2. Which is plus 1, 3, minus 1 is 2. So that's a miss. All right, you tried. You know, you tried. Okay, and then let's have Judas go ahead and attack. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Here we go. The trap. It's the trap again. Oh, no. Already, I was joking when I said the trap could be the second card. But it turns out, in fact, the trap is right there for us. Ugh, alright, shuffle, 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 and let's get attacked. Ugh, that's no fun. Okay, at least we did a super dodge. I mean, yeah. Alright, let's hope we shuffled the trap to the bottom here by now. Right, and, oh, sorry, he should have been facing our friend Judas here. Berhyl, 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 Berhyl. Yeah, no, not feeling like attacking with you. Nope, I don't think so. All right, time for the lion to go. We have number 3, turn to face the nearest threat and attack. If this attack dealt damage, attack the target again. So we have 2 potential targets up here. 1 to 3 is Judas. 4 to 6 is our friend Shade. Of course, it is Judas. And let's see if Judas can have lightning strike twice and dodge. 3 plus 1 for the armor is 4. So close, but not quite. And I'm going to actually spend his survival to dodge this one, because if I don't, remember, if this attack dealt damage, attack the target again. So I'm basically dodging potentially 2 hits by doing so. Alright, we've done that. What's next? Number 5, turn to face the nearest threat and attack. -1 to defense roll. Let's see who the nearest threat is. Same numbers. Of course, going after Judas. It's like he knows that Judas and Berhyl are the tanks. 3 plus 1 is 4, which is not going to surpass what we need for defense. It's like he's targeting the tanks on purpose. This sinister lion. Okay. Yes. So we have we've resolved those. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about the grass. I forgot about the grass. I'm in the grass with our dear friend over here, which means I get +1 to my evasion. So both of those I was 1 shy, meaning that I actually got the values that I needed to defend, or rather to circumvent those blows by hiding in the tall grass. So, excellent notice there. I'm glad I didn't play the whole game and then realize that in retrospect. So, oh yes, the grass coming in clutch. Very good job, grass. Very good. Alright, it's our turns again. Who is going to go next? I suppose we could have the wizard strike. The wizard is in the blind spot. That is a 1. Okay, Diz, no matter what, that is an abysmal roll, my friend. That's not good. Okay. I suppose let's have Shade go right here. And then I will have the white lion be attacked from the side flanks. That's a 5. -1 is a 4, but remember, he's a level 4 now, so that is a hit. 2. Okay. This is an impervious card. This is the Shimmering Mines. Essentially, our weapon has only swung and hit the hairs of the lion. So, as an impervious card, it actually will not result in a wound, even though we need this battle to end. Roll 2d6 on an 11 plus. Remove this card from the game and gain 1 White Lion Monster Remnant. So, Monster Remnants, that's an 8, so it's not going to do it. Monster Remnants are the currency you get for fighting these bosses that you can spend in certain shops and on certain items in the town phase, which we'll cover in a bit. Okay. Well, you tried. You really did, my friend, and you swung it heartily, but it was not enough, and that's okay. I suppose since I could go here or here, it really doesn't matter that much. I'm going to go ahead and just have him attack right from the front. Yes, he's very, very brave attacking from the front from his grass, which is a roll of 2 plus 1 for weapon plus 1 levels 4. That is going to be a hit. The trap again. Oh no. So many traps. So many. There's only 1 trap card in there, but the shuffling just has not been our friend. All right, so we rolled a 4, but remember we'd get plus 1 for the armor. So the good news is, oh, but you know what? The trap gives you -1 to defense, but let's remember as well, we are in the grass. So the grass has saved our derrieres yet again. I was almost said another word there that rhymes with the grass, but I caught myself just in time. This is a family channel, of course. Yes. Wow. Oof. Okay. And Berhyl, you know, we're not going to have Berhyl attack because what if he hits the trap? What if we just shuffled the trap right up top? That would be the end of Berhyl. That's for sure. We have a Jack, which, oh man. Each threat rolls a d6. On a roll result of 2 or fewer, the threat loses 1 HP. And we're going to do the same thing left to right, all of our heroes. Okay, 3, 6, 3, and 5. Whew. Okay. Nobody was at all bothered by this most recent roar from the lion, thankfully. Maybe the first time it was a little jarring, but now it's like, all right, lion, we've seen your stuff. We know what you're up about. Next is number 2. Turn to face the target who most recently wounded the white lion and attack that target. -1 to the defense roll. Wow, that was a long time ago too. I think it might have actually been because there was a trap there. And he didn't wound. He actually hit, but he actually did not wound, given the fact that it ended up being an impervious hit location. But since my memory fails me and I don't remember who exactly wounded before our dear friend over there, I'll go ahead and call it right there to try to be as fair as I can. 5. Okay, +1, +1, +1. Yeah, okay. That's a dodge. That's exactly a dodge. Yep, it sure is. All right, what do we got here? We have 6. Turn to face the threat with the lowest health and attack. -1 to the defense roll. If this attack dealt damage, the target suffers bleed 1. Oh no. Oh, Berhyl. Oh, buddy. Oh no. Oh, the lion, the cruel lion, has decided to target the weakest of our friends. Maybe the blood he smells, and he's just ready for finishing his food there. Oh boy. Berhyl, I believe in you, buddy. On a 4, 5, or 6, you're safe. On a 1, 2, or 3, that's the end of our journey with you. Let's see what we got. Oh, a 6. Oh, good. Okay, Berhyl survives somehow yet another miraculous hit, or a dodge from the lion. Oh my goodness, I don't know how much more luck we can really squeeze out of poor Berhyl. I think, despite the fact that he is not wasting his energies attacking, I think our luck will run out someday. We're gonna have to do something with him. I think at the start, here's what we'll do. I got it. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to start by moving our wizard right in the blind spot. We're going to try to attack. That is a 3. +1 is 4, but -1 for the light weapon is 3. So that's going to be a miss. Next, we're actually going to have Judas move into the blind spot, opening up the bush. I'm actually going to tuck our dear friend in the bush to make him as safe as we possibly can. And then hopefully that will be enough. But for all we know, maybe Judas can finish him off in one fell swing. Maybe he will. That's a 6. Let's go ahead and see what else we got. That's a 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. Oh my gosh, guys. This might happen, right? He's level 4, so that means on a roll of 12, that's 3 hits. This thing has 3 health left. Do we think... as long as we don't run into that impervious card or the trap, this thing is dead. Let's see what happens. Alright. Now, in a multi-hit attack, what you do is you draw all the cards, and then you can resolve them in any order that you want. And sometimes the order of resolution is actually important. So the Queen of Hearts, for example, is the Beast's Groin. Turn the white lion to face the attacker. White lion's attack will target the attacker next. Okay, makes sense. The 9 of Hearts is the Beast's Temple. White lion turns to face the attacker and attacks. If white lion dealt damage with this attack, attacker suffers bleed 1. That might be what we want to do at the end, because he'll be dead by then. So maybe we'll put that at the end, perhaps. Let's see. And the 5 of Hearts is the Beast back with no effect. Okay, yes. So I think what we'll do, it really doesn't matter which of these two goes first, but technically, let's start with the Queen. That's going to deal 1 wound, and he is going to turn to face Judas, and he intends to attack Judas with his next attack. Then we have the Beast's back injury, which is going to deal 1 more wound, and then do nothing. And then last but not least, we have our attack right here, which is going to deal the final wound to the lion, taking it out and saving our poor heroes. As the white lion succumbed to the weight of its wounds, the heroes let out a breath of relief. What manner of fell beastry was this? Where had it come from? It came from there, Diz noted, his studious gaze fixed upon the open maw of the rippling black void. Aye, Berhyl gripped his forehead in agony. The soul song echoes carried on these screams of the complement of the lion's song. Is this a portal of some sort? Judas inquired cautiously. So it would seem, replied Diz. To where I do not know. To somewhere very, very dark, Shade growled from across the room. Close it, or we must leave, now. My shadow yearns to... Shade suddenly began dragging along the floor of the cavern, as though being pulled by an invisible force toward the open portal. With alarm, Judas noticed Shade's shadow was spread out in front of Shade, clawing its way toward the portal's maw like an ashen ghoul. As Judas jumped to action, Shade plunged his shadow shiv into the ground in front of him, right into the ankle of his own shadow. The shadow soundlessly cringed in pain, ceasing its crawling as though pinned to the earth itself. Wide eyes flicked between Shade and his shadow, though Shade appeared unbothered. My shadow yearns to go there. He feels a sense of home from wherever this portal leads. Shade leveled a serious gaze toward his stunned companions and pointed toward the group. Yours do as well. Diz, Judas, and Berhyl looked to the ground and shuddered, noting their own shadows bending unnaturally toward the portal against the proper cast of their lantern light. The Shadow Shepherd is right. We must leave quickly, Judas voiced with authority, as though addressing the group's shadows along with the group themselves. Diz, are you able to close this portal? Not without time and study. This is a foreign force that I do not recognize. Usually portals require a link between 2 places, something common between the 2 locations and a large amount of magical energy. The cave is certainly dark, so it could be that the dark place on the other side of this portal is linked to the shared darkness, but it could be any number of other things in common. Closing a portal requires severing that specific link, which therefore requires determining what the link is. Until such a time as I can figure out how to close this portal, it would be best to seal the mine in case any other entities find their way in here. I'll port ahead and mobilize the miners for the demolition. And with that, Diz dissipated into a cloud of smoke, entrusting that the remaining heroes would find their way back through the cavern complex. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. I was joking, or honestly, I did not think that was going to happen when I just said, oh, maybe he'll just, do a mighty swing and take it out in one blow. Or one attack. And it turns out, in fact, that's exactly what he did. Judas was listening to us, and indeed he fulfilled our deepest wishes. Great job, Judas. Excellent work. Now, given that this boss was a final boss, a number of things happen. Instead of getting 1 XP, you end up getting 2 boss XP, which is pretty good, and you get to decide how to split that any way you want. I think 1 XP should go to Berhyl, because if he does level up, he's going to get 1 free health, because their HP increases with levels. So let's go ahead and roll. Okay, good. He leveled up successfully. Okay. As I say, Berhyl, it is not the time to be leveling up unsuccessfully. We really need you. Oh, level 21, I wish. Yeah, okay, so Berhyl is now a level 2. And I suppose we could make Shade into a level 2 as well. So we'll go ahead and roll. Boom! And indeed, we did. Yes, level 2 there, which is going to give him yet another one of those beautiful health points. And we also get a few pieces of gold. It's 2d6 times 10 gold. Don't ask me why the white lion has gold. He just does. And it turns out he doesn't have a whole lot. It turns out he only has 50 gold. And I suppose since Judas was the MVP there and brought this battle to a swift end, he deserves to have some gold. Very good job, Judas. And last but not least, we end up getting... I'll just clone this. We get some monster resource. I had alluded to it when I talked about the main there, and I'll actually make this white. There we go, for the white lion. There we go. Technically, you get monster level number of monster remnants, and then the monster level number of white lion remnants, or whatever the specific monster is. So, white lion remnants are monster remnants, but not all monster remnants are white lion remnants, so to speak. And the difference will become obvious when you see what things can be done with the various types of monster remnants. But indeed, we have felled this foul beast, but our journey is not over. Unfortunately, we have to make it all the way back to the entrance of the mine alive. We do, yes. So, all of our guys are going to go back on our little platform in a new marching order. And essentially what we're going to do is go room by room, and we're going to have to roll to see if we run into any wandering monsters. Should we survive until we reach the entrance, then we will emerge from the cave with as much success as we've been able to garner. As far as the marching order goes, I'm actually going to have... nope, that's Berhyl. I'm actually going to have Judas and Shade leading up the front, because they are both actually the... Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to have them leading up the back. And the reason why is because when you're attacked by wandering monsters, they attack you from behind. So it makes the most sense that these two, the healthiest, should be in the back to watch our backs. And now that leaves us with Berhyl and the wizard here to go at the front. But remember as well, we have a few different spells that get the wizard back to the start of the map, like this escape spell, for example. So I think I'm actually going to use the escape spell on Diz to just teleport him straight over here, bypassing all of the peril of our return journey. And as well, he has to warn the townspeople of what we have observed in here. So that's going to leave these three to take the perilous journey back, which is going to involve a d6. All right, let us move on. We are going into the room with the stalagmites. As I have learned, they are stalagmites. Very good. Let us go right northward. Basically, as long as we don't roll a 1, we're okay. That's a 5, so that's good. Going right on into a corridor. That is a 4, so we're okay. Moving into the reinforced room. That's a 6. Ah, very good. All right, back into another corridor here. That's also a 6. Very good. A reinforced room yet again. That's a 3. Okay. All right, this is a pretty uneventful journey home, which is good. A 3. This is the room with the lady in white. I'm sorry, lady. A few of the beasts did get away from us. I did learn, however, when I was thinking about, like, it's kind of strange that when monsters run away on their own initiative from the morale, that you, like, kind of automatically fail this quest. And I looked it up, and apparently you are able to actually resolve attacks of opportunity on the fleeing creatures. So it is possible for you to kill them all, even when they decide to flee from morale, if you just happen to be lucky enough to slay them when they leave one by one. But in any case, I don't believe that that would have been the case for us in this one. Surely with the amount of monsters that fled, we would have failed 1 or 2 here or there. So I'm not too worried about this quest. So I'm sorry, Lady in White. We got places to go. We got to warn the people in town about what's going on in this cave and what might potentially be going on elsewhere. So let's roll. Okay, right. So we didn't encounter a monster there. Let's see if we encounter one in here. That's a 5. Okay, let's see if we encounter something over here. Whew, that's a 3. And then one last bit right here. Excellent. So, thankfully, the wandering monsters were kind to us on our return from the dungeon. Sometimes I've had it be really bad where you run into strings of wandering monsters, because you also have to remember, when you're in corridors, on top of the fact that, you know, you're in tight quarters, if any combat should encounter, or should begin, it's also, you get the -1 to the search rolls. Like I mentioned in the first video. So really, when you're in corridors, you have to roll a 2+ on these, or else wandering monsters will surprise you there. And wandering monsters, it turns out, get the first attack at this point in the game. So that could have been really bad. But we made it back to the entrance. We've left the mines. And ladies and gentlemen, that was our first successful delve in 4 Against Darkness. As Judas, Berhyl, and Shade caught up to Diz at the cave's entrance, they found the old wizard addressing a crowd of concerned townspeople. His tone of voice indicated agitation. I understand the vital nature of this mine's export, but I fear that there will be grave consequences for us all if it remains open. We have no idea what else might emerge from that infernal portal. You mean you didn't close it? One of the miners barked back. Some wizard you are. Closing the gateway is not as simple as shutting a magical door, Diz firmly replied. He doesn't want the portal shut, another miner called from the back. He probably opened it himself to let the outsiders in again, just like he did before. Diz did no such thing, Judas interjected, stepping up beside his elderly companion. Diz is an honorable man, you all know that. None among us know more than he does how dangerous outsiders can be. My friend is the only resource we have regarding magical phenomena, and I'm confident he will resolve this issue in time. But until then, for the safety of us all, we have to seal the mine. But Shadowstone is this town's only valuable export. Without it, we'll have nothing to trade, cried a concerned citizen, igniting a storm of murmurs in the gathering. The risk of inconvenience is the better bargain than the risk of death, Shade interjected, stunning some of the crowd to silence. The creature that emerged from that portal was a thing of nightmares. If some new monster, stronger than the last, were to emerge, who knows if we'll be able to stop it. If only we had the power of a Gaia swordsman to protect us, mocked a woman to the left, casting a vicious glare at Judas. I believe this town council is adjourned, Berhyl noted from the right. 2 belts of blow powder flasks dangled from his staunch shoulders. No one had noticed the stout fellow when he slipped away from the bickering crowd. We didn't search every cove in this cavern. There could be more beasts prowling the unexplored avenues of the mines as we speak, eager to make their way to the surface. There's no telling what or how many other creatures are in there. Beryl's brow twitched. Let us remember that there are some horrors that are not so easily reburied. The weight of his last words held heavily in the hearts of the crowd. Every miner knew the fate of the eastern mountains. This is only temporary, Diz reassured. Once we are able to dispel the portal and clear out the caverns, we will be able to reopen the mine again. Though the crowd was far from pleased at the notion, they were more amenable now. How long will it take? A timid fellow near the front asked. Not too long, I hope, Diz answered, but this labor cannot be rushed. I will have to start by... A knight in shining blue, eagle-crested armor banked into the clearing on a galloping horse. Manic urgency adorned his eyes. Master Wizard, the Kingdom of Kurdal requests your assistance immediately. Diz was no stranger to the neighboring Kingdom of Kurdal. He served the Kurdal family many centuries ago when they were little more than lords over a small series of villages. Now the Kurdal Kingdom spans the largest region in the Summerlands. See to the closing of the mine, Master Berhyl. I must speak to this messenger. The messenger tells Diz of monsters overrunning the Kurdal castle, strange monsters that seemingly dropped in from the sky. The king himself was forced to flee the castle, and the neighboring boroughs were evacuated as well. It seemed a likely conclusion that something magical was happening, one that rang all too familiar to Diz in light of what happened in the Silvain mine. Perhaps the 2 incidents are related somehow. With the mine safely sealed, Diz and the other heroes saddled their horses and prepared to head to Castle Kurdal to investigate. And by prepare, I mean it's shopping time. After each delve, your heroes are able to head into town to heal up and acquire new gear. Admittedly, the equipment table in the core game is a little sparse. There are other market offerings and scattered expansion modules, but I wanted to add my own market options to fit within the new 4A KDM formula. As such, I created a series of markets based on the settlement location crafting tables in Kingdom Death Monster. In KDM, the players gather resources from the monsters they defeat, which can then be used to craft better and stronger gear that will help them survive the threats of the world around them. As such, it only made sense to have the KDM gear in here do the same. As you can see here, I have a bonesmith, an organ grinder, and a skinnery, the first 3 crafting locations in Kingdom Death Monster. To build gear from any settlement locations here, you'll have to spend the required amounts of gold, but also spend a monster remnant too. From now on, your heroes will earn monster remnants every time they gain XP from bosses and minions. Additionally, specific monster remnants will be required for monster-specific crafting recipes, hence the differentiation between monster remnants and white lion remnants earlier. There are 4 primary types of craftable goods: weapons, armor, accessories, and consumables. Weapons work the same way they do in the core game, hosting a crushing or slashing damage proficiency and 1 or 2-handed requirements. However, these new weapons will also have italicized text that indicate a unique bonus that applies when fighting final bosses. This way, the weapons can be given interesting abilities and attack values to keep up with the rigors of the KDM bosses, whilst maintaining their current balance during the standard dungeon delving experience. For example, this bone cleaver is a one-handed axe that operates as any sharp light weapon would act, during the delve anyway. But when it's the final boss time, it adds +2 to your attack rolls against the boss, and has the chance to deal additional damage to the boss on a lucky roll. Armors work in a similar capacity, maintaining their light or heavy affiliations for the purposes of the delve, but often getting a bonus or 2 against the final boss. Accessories are special gear items that either grant you a passive ability or an active ability that you can use a certain number of times during your dungeon delve. For example, this luck charm accessory allows its user to convert a roll result of 5 into a 6 twice per dungeon. Each hero may have up to 3 accessories in their inventory at a time, and these can have some pretty neat effects that apply to either the final boss encounters or standard encounters, so choose wisely. Lastly, consumables are precisely what you would expect. Items that have a certain number of uses before being fully depleted and discarded. As such, these work the same way that normal consumables in 4 Against Darkness do. And that's the broadest overview of what new things you'll be able to buy with Monster Remnants, but you'll also be able to build new crafting locations that unlock other gear and abilities. For instance, if you choose to build the Weapon Crafter Settlement location, you'll unlock its crafting recipes along with the Surge survival action that allows you to spend a survival point to resolve an immediate action. For the sake of brevity, I'll probably gear up off screen and simply summarize which items I picked up at the start of the next episode, when our heroes dismount their horses in Castle Curdal's courtyard. What bizarre beasties await the heroes in Castle Curdal? You'll have to find out on the next episode. Thank you so much for watching another episode. I hope you're enjoying the playthrough so far. Also, for those of you who are curious about Kingdom Death, my next project will be to produce a Kingdom Death primer that provides a broad overview of the game and its appeal, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Take care and happy gaming, everyone.